Hello and welcome back to West of Loathing. You might notice that we are not in the same place where we last left off, and that is because I have been grinding a bit. Susie is now much stronger. I've completed a vibrato quest, and I've also plated my tongue with silver, which means, well, yeah. Other than that, I mean, I've gained some meat, but I've really not come very much farther in the story. I have also looked up how to solve certain things. So, for the billiard player, because that's what we will be tackling first. Now, I have collected the set of chalk from the chalkboard, as you remember, and the quest here is the lathe here. What's a lathe used for? Well, straightening out a bent piece of wood. So we'll balance Billiard's Q. Now we can fight, well, not fight, but deal with the billiard's ghost. And that will be one more down. I have not looked up anything else, but like I wanted to get things moving so that we can clear up gun mana, so that we can be done, so that we can get to the rest of the story. Because the gun mana is the only DLC that is to this game, and oh, that's not where the billiard ghost is. The billiard ghost is in Mr. Gun's manliness room. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. In here? No, that's the, let's see. Ah, yes. I ain't interested in chit-chat, fella, just billiards. Step up or shut up. Right? You chalk up your cue and the ghost racks the balls. It's a close match, you have to consult the geometry book. Oh! That was what it's for. Just to get the angles right. The game comes down to a fight for the 8-ball, and you manage to barely squeak out the win when the ghost catches an unlucky bounce off the corner of a pocket. Well, shucks, nice shooting, Tex. He flips you a finger gun salute, winks, and fades into nothingness. Nope. Alright, I got a billiards ball. Well, that was shorter than anticipated. Oh, we do have the book for the library, one that was specifically said to be from the library. Second floor? Yes, because it's next to the gallery. Hop. Boop. E. Can you help me with some library stuff? Can you help me with some library stuff? Could you perhaps be more specific? I found a book. You might want it back. Ah, thank you. Put that back on the shelf if you would. The number on the spine will lead you to the proper location. Okay. Does it say the... So yeah, you can see I got more vibrato scraps. I also completed some punch cards. Don't know how that went. And the professor gave me this ley line diagram. I actually didn't use it. I didn't know there was... The diagram is surprisingly comprehensible. You stick it into your necromancer's journal. Oh, it was for that. Right. Barnaby gave you this coupon for a year's supply of dynamite. How did you know? Right, now we just have a year's supply of dynamite. Don't know when we'll need it, but... Anything new in here? Oh yeah, that was the demonic child that was like, come play with me. I'm like, nah, I think not. Books, fun law. Yes, but what does it say about the... Okay, I'll try and talk to her again, because it seems she has multiple options. What? Some of that delicious paste, what? book repairs, not for eating. Ah, okay. I was like, well, what? Precise definition of a word? Am I though? Doesn't have technocracy, secular humanism, or brunch yet, but it should be sufficient for your purposes. Alright. Let's see if the second option won't. Card catalog is out being reorganized. Someone sorted all the cards by call number instead of by title or author, made it quite useless. You'll have to search the stacks manually. How do I get started? Okay, so I now have to... Ooh. You have 2 books which you could put back. Fun Law and Dueling Banjos. They go on different shelves, so you can't do both at once. Fun Law? Basics of Gun Law. Oh! We know where that goes, I think. Hold on, can I read it first? Basics of Gun Law. This book is an overview of the laws regarding guns, which even at this point in history already don't make any sense. Oh! After that you take the... Now does that work how I think it works? Objection! What are you objecting to? Your face! Overruled! What's your problem anyway? Bad legal stuff you never understand. Well, la-dee-da then, jerk. Dad, damn it! I was hoping that would work. I'm kind of stumped, but let's... Oh! You find the shelf where Dueling Banjos belong and put it back. The previous book on the shelf is entitled Duel Law. Dueling, Duel Law, yeah. Which seems to be about legal issues surrounding dueling. Never know when that might come in handy. Oh, I think I know, because that's the one that we needed. You learn all about the laws pertaining to dueling. It turns out when 2 guys want to murder each other in a fair and reasonable manner, things get legally tricky. Because that was the issue that... So it wasn't gun law, it was dueling law. Right. My bad. I suppose you can't duel without guns, like a fencing quest is also a kind of a duel. Okay. Gun law. In fact, I think you'll find I'm quite conversant in the finer points of our justice system, particularly as it pertains to guns and gun-related activity. Horseradish, you're all trousers and no brief. Oh yeah? Well, just try me, smart lady. Fine. Obviously you aren't going to leave me alone, so just ask your questions. I am Rainbow, speaking for the record. State your name, occupation, and cause of death. Felicity Rainwright, defense attorney, lost a court-approved trial by combat. What? Trial by combat has been outlawed for like 15 years. You do understand that ghosts don't visually age as time passes, right? Oh, right. So your client called for trial by combat, which meant you and the prosecutor had to face off in a duel. That's correct. And you lost. She squints at you. Are you acting dumb to try and throw me off guard? I withdraw the question. Why are you stuck as a ghost? Because although trial by combat was already well out of fashion by the time, it was still a valid legal recourse. I should have been prepared for the possibility, but I wasn't. My lack of training resulted in an innocent man being executed for murder. Oof, how was he executed? Hanging, I assume. Obviously I wasn't around to see it. So to release you, I'd need to prove that the loss wasn't your fault. The trial duel was completely fair and above board. There is no chance of having been foul play on the prosecutor's part. My loss was my own. Then I'd have to prove your client was actually guilty, and therefore your feelings of responsibility are misplaced. The look she gives you is hard and cold. Look, you think you know a thing or two about the law? How about you tell me the first rule of being a defense attorney? Don't make fun of the judge's beard? You have to trust and believe in your client. If you don't believe in your client, if you don't believe your client is innocent, you'll never convince anyone else he is either. So if I were to convince you he was guilty, you'll have an uphill fight, fella. You are essentially playing prosecutor here. Alright, tell me about the case. My defendant was Matthew Guilty McCready, accused of the murder of Victor Timsbury at noon, June 8, 1877. 78 in Reno. I have some questions. Go ahead. Your client was actually named guilty? Come on. Names don't mean anything. I once had a client named Ike Ildagai, and he was totally innocent. For someone's actual legal name, sure, but nicknames are usually given with some sort of basis. You never met a really tall guy called Tiny or a fat guy called Slim? Arguably the nickname guilty would reinforce my client's innocence. That's totally absurd, but I'll let it rest for now. What was the cause of death? Timsbury was shot through the heart with a .45 caliber revolver. And did McCready own such a gun? Yes, he was holding it at the time, and subsequent examination showed that it had been recently fired. Are you messing with me? Any further questions? Yes, I do have more questions. This was at noon precisely. Yes, it was confirmed by witnesses. Also, McCready owned a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hours. There were witnesses, about half a dozen. I'm pretty sure there's something you aren't telling me. I'm not obligated to play my hand face up, Mr. Prosecutor. Okay then, go ahead. Hang on a second. Shot with a pistol in front of witnesses at exactly noon. Was this a duel? So you can add 2 plus 2 after all. Well done. Well, as luck would have it, I just recently read a whole book about duel law. What? Why? No reason, I just happened across it in the library and thought it might be interesting. You read an entire code of law you found at random, just for the heck of it. Pretty much. Yeah. Let me just do a quick preview. A duel is legal provided it's between exactly two people at a specific prearranged time and place using the same or at least essentially similar weapons, and they have to either face each other down and quick draw at the appointed moment, or do the 10 paces turn and fire routine. Is that right? That's the gist of it, yeah? So I guess let's start with you telling me the facts of the case, and I'll interrupt you rudely if I have any questions. Alright, but if you push me on trivial nonsense, I'll get mad, and you'll have to start over. That seems fair. Go ahead. McCready and Timsbury got into an argument in the saloon on the evening of June 17th. Apparently Timsbury accused McCready of cheating at poker. Well, why would I, go on? The bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark out, they agreed to meet for a duel the next day. And that would be the 18th, you said. Yes, June 18th, 1878. Go on. Well, the next day they both showed up shortly before noon and squared off about 30 feet from each other. When noon struck, McCready fired fast enough that Timsbury didn't get his shot off on account of having his head shot off. That's pretty much the long and short of it. I'm gonna have to ask you for more details on that. This is probably not really, but exactly at noon. As soon as the church bells started ringing. But you also mentioned his pocket watch. Yes, he had a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Is that important for some reason? I guess not. You said there were witnesses. Were they interviewed? Yeah, the story is lined up with what I just told you. Were any of them known associates? I'm not aware of any of them being actual friends with McCready, but he was a local and a lot of people knew him. Wait a minute, just where are you going with... Objection! Oh, come on! Any of those people could have interceded on McCready's behalf. What, and on what exactly? Well, they could have shot Timsfield with a more accurate weapon, like a rifle, or... Then there'd be 2 gunshots instead of just 1. Or are you suggesting they shot him with a poison blowgun dart? Was he tested for poison? Get out. Hold on. I have a feeling looking up the date might work. Hold on. What was it? July 18. Oh, can I not type numbers in this? 18th? Oh, we were on to something here. We were on to something. Can I maybe get more? No idea where to even start. What would... There's something fishy about the date. Like, he had a pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Yet they shot when the church bell rang. Which would mean, seeing that the statement says nothing about the pocket watch. There's something here. There's something here. I just can't figure it out. I knocked my mouse on my desktop. What's that sound? Oh, come on. What would... There is definitely something here. Oh, it's not. It's just like what? I'm gonna try it again. I feel like I was close. Alright, let's go. That seems fair. Go ahead. Go on. Go on. Yeah, actually. Let's, okay, let's start it. I have some questions. Tell me more about the argument. Yes, that seems like... There isn't much to tell. The other players in the game had already folded their hands in that round, and so they weren't paying very close attention. All we know is that Timsbury suddenly accused McCready of being a dirty, cheating varmint, and McCready said Timsbury was just sore because he'd been losing all night. Did McCready have a history of cheating? He'd been accused of it once or twice, but Reno's gambling is a gambling town, and he hung out in the rough part of it. Getting accused of cheating by a sore loser when you're on a lucky street is par for the course. But if McCready had a history of cheating, it would be irrelevant because the reason for the duel is immaterial to the legality of the duel itself. Motive isn't an issue here, but... Okay. I don't think that's... I have a question. Yep. Did they set a specific time for the duel? Yes, high noon. Oh, high noon is different than noon. That is not the same. High noon is when the sun is at its highest. That is not 12. That is not like noon, straight up noon is 12. That's the same all over the world. High noon is different depending on what latitude, like what north-south latitude that you are on the globe, because the sun's highest point in the sky, that's different compared to wherever you are. So unless you're at the same latitude, you'll always have the same kind of high noon, but it will be different if you are, like, say, at the equator and then go up to, I don't know, England. Like, it's gonna be a different high noon from that. So that's not important. That's not unimportant. Yeah. Let's see. Why didn't they just fight there right then? That doesn't seem... Did I? That seems a stupid question. Yes. Oh. Well, the next day they both showed up shortly. I'm going to have to ask more details here. Okay. He fired at exactly at noon. Yeah. See, that here's the difference. Noon and high noon. Not the same. Let's see. He fired at exactly noon. Yes, as soon as the church bell started ringing. So MacCready fired as soon as the church bell struck noon. That is what I just said. Have you got a point to make, or are you just stalling for time to think? I mean, I am. Objection. MacCready fired at the wrong time. What are you talking about? He fired at exactly noon with the church bells. They are witnesses. That's right, he fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Depending on geography and the time of the year, it can be hours different from clock noon. MacCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. So what do you say to that, Councillor? Felicity gives you a slow smile. I got to hand to you, Prosecutor bows. You're a lot better than I was giving you credit for. That's a good thought you had there. There's just one problem with it. I already thought it. Take that. She holds a small book at you which you just barely managed to catch. 1878 Nautical Almanac? What the heck is this? I did my homework when I was preparing for that trial. My legal homework, since at that time I expected there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself, but if you look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June the 18th, and make the adjustments for Reno's longitude, what do you think you get? You have got to be kidding me. That's right, Mr. Prosecutor. 12 o'clock p.m. Precisely. Wait a minute. That... Well, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely. That's all my ammo. I can't think of any other way to disprove MacCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yes, and that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. An innocent man's death. You sure are good at repeating things people say. What if he didn't die? Say what now? This seems... Yeah, we're not... Alright, let's try and read it then. Look up a date in it. This book is almost entirely tables of numbers labeled things like logarithm of the radius vector of the Earth. You could look up any day in the year 1878 in it, though who knows if you'll be able to figure anything out from what it gives you. So we were in July? You flip to the July chapter. So let's start with 17. Doesn't seem like anything interesting happened that date. 18. You look up that day and get a lot of numbers that don't meaning? Okay. 19? Is there anything specific about that? Okay, I'm gonna try and go at the end of July and see if there is anything. So July has... Oh, is that one with 30 or 31? Let's just start with... Oh, I suppose we can... So 31. Let's see, on that day there was a moon, and it was somewhere between new and full. Well, that's new. That's new. Okay, let's go back a bit and see. So 30. Nothing interesting happened that day. What? Okay, one more. Oh! That was when McCready... Oh, she probably said that. Oh, I didn't pay attention. That was when McCready was going to be executed. Let's see. Wow, wait a minute. According to this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day, centered right over the Western Territories, and with its totality at 2:47 p.m. That's a hell of a thing. Oh, was the trial right after the duel? July the 25th. Okay. When was the execution? Oh, so I could probably have asked that straight away. Around 3, typically. I looked up July 29th in your almanac, and get this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day. What? Now you're just messing with me. Now look for yourself. Totality at 2:47 p.m. right over the Western Territories. Well, that's quite a thing, but I don't see how that affects weight. Unless you're suggesting, right, it was the perfect opportunity for McCready to escape. Absurd like a fox. I mean, it's totally ridiculous coincidence, sure, but it happened. But McCready couldn't possibly have taken advantage of it because he'd been as surprised by it as anyone else. Maybe if he had the opportunity to plan it out, sure, but you'll need a lot more to convince me of that. I'll be right back. Biscuits! That's another dead end. No. Oh, she wandered into me. Right, okay. Let's just go away so that we don't have that happen again. Maybe the library? I mean, it is sort of a... It's not an archive per se, but it is like the closest thing. Investigate? Okay. Really? Nothing? Have I not finished? Okay, let's try. Oh, whoa. Okay, let's try and completely ask all the questions until she. Okay. Yes. What can you tell me about McCready? July 29th. Episode of ours. Oh. Alright, that's reasonable as far as it goes, but McCready could have worked the eclipse into an escape plan because he didn't have any say over the court schedule. You said, what with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. McCready could have caused any number of those delays himself by faking illness in prison or messing with the horses on the ride to Frisco, anything. This could also explain the trial by combat. You mean there ended up being too much delay, so if a regular trial went on too long and he was found guilty, he'd have missed the eclipse. Exactly. Whereas if you called for trial by combat, everything would be resolved one way or the other in only one day. Maybe you'd win and that'd be fine, but if you lost, he could use his escape plan. I have to admit that is pretty compelling, but that's all. It's all maybes and what ifs. Yeah, maybe it happened, but maybe MacCready was rescued by leprechauns. Oh man, are there leprechauns at Frisco? You need some kind of hard evidence before this is any more than just a fun story, is what I mean. Let me ask you something else then. Now, how can I find evidence of MacCready's escape? Well, we don't know that an escape even happened. True, something like that would have been news for certain. News that one could find in a library, mayhaps? I'm grasping at straws here, but I don't want to look it up. I mean, it feels like we're close. Oh! You find a few bundles of old newspapers at the bottom of one shelf, the Frisco Newsinator. You start at the bottom of the stack and flip through them until you find the paper for the week of July 28th till August 3rd, 1878. The main feature has to do with the eclipse and various accidents and spectacles that occurred because most people weren't expecting it. The editor apologized for burying the announcement in the previous week's weather forecast. Most notably, all 3 men scheduled to be hanged on the 29th escaped in the confusion, and only 2 of them were recaptured. Unfortunately, their names aren't given. You don't find anything else relevant to the case, however. As you're putting the papers back in order on the shelf, a headline on a more recent issue catches your eye. Husband of famous inventor missing. The article is light on information, but apparently Mrs. Gunn's husband Dan vanished on the road while traveling to Dirtwater on business about 6 years ago. Law enforcement suspected bandits, but no evidence was found. That's kind of grim. Well, that yes. So near Dirtwater then. Alright, we might make this one longer because I want to do this. I want to finish up this, at least this one ghost. Where would you ask about people? The saloon first, but probably not the best place. Hey Lloyd, it's been a while. That doesn't seem to be okay. Mercantile? I don't think so. Post office? I'd like to send a postcard. Oh! Okay, well, that's... What? Newfangled telegraph machines. Jail? Why would it be in the jail? How are you? Okay, nothing there. Hot dogs. Grady's leather goods. That's the guy from the tannery. Sharpening strop. What's that? Oh! Nice! Melee weapon damage by 3 to 4. Sure. Free stuff. What have you got? Fine bandolier. Flexible chaps. Inflexible chaps. And another sharpening strop. I don't think they stack. Well, that... Yeah, there's nothing else new here. So I'm supposed to look something up. That much is certain. But the library doesn't seem to have anything else useful to me. Okay, let's try and go to this. Talk to her about our findings that he could have escaped. Executed criminals aren't graving gravestones with the names on them, so you can't just go looking around Frisco Cemetery to find out. Listen, Rain, I really appreciate what you're trying to do, but at this point you would actually have to find MacCready himself to prove he wasn't executed due to my failure. Well, I guess that's what I'll do then. Hold on. Yeah, sure. Wasn't there one? MacCready. No, there was not. But I seem to remember one of these early houses. Oh yeah, I also found that's where I got the silver tongue. I seem to remember that one of the gang locations from the start had a gravestone. I'm gonna just try Desert House first. Let's see. Ha! Gravestone! M. McCready stuck to his guns. You dig until your shovel hits a wooden coffin, and you haul the lid open. A skeleton blinks at you. Well, it doesn't, but anyway. Howdy? Howdy. Are you Guilty McCready? Well, now, I ain't heard that nickname in... What year is it? 1895. 17 years. Oh, I tell a lie. There was one time 8 years ago. The same McCready that escaped the gallows during an eclipse. Yeah, well now, since the statute of limitation is expired, I might as well fess up. Yep, that was me. Real sweet plan too. Apart from that one little hitch, it went off smooth as silk. Even worked in a little misdirection to lead the law to them other two fellas instead of me. Serves them right too. They were real murderers, not like me. Never killed a man except in a fair fight. Except that one little hitch you mentioned. You miscalculated how long to delay the trial. So in order not to miss the eclipse, you called for trial by combat. Oh, well, yep, that's the truth of it. You're blaming me for Mrs. Wainwright's death, I suppose. Why didn't you trust her? She would have gotten you declared innocent. She had a real good head on her shoulders, sure, but so did that prosecutor fella. I didn't rate the odds better than 50-50. Not good enough. And anyway, a trial by combat was the part of her job. She should have been ready. That stinks. She trusted you. She's a ghost now because she feels guilty about losing that trial. I spent ages trying to convince her you weren't innocent, and she backed you up every step of the way, despite the fact that you got her killed, and you don't even care? Hell, bite your tongue, sonny. You don't know me. Don't care? I did what I did. I did what I felt I had to do to stay alive, and I felt damn guilty about what's happened to Miss Wainwright. But I ain't taking all the blame for it. No, sir. She'll tell you herself she should have been better prepared, just like she told me that day, apologizing with her last breath. I gave up gunfighting for her. Gave up the only thing I lived for. That's how I felt about it. You gave up gunfighting. Weren't easy, but I did. Bought this house, bought this land, raised some chickens, and I had a little vegetable garden. Place has gone to hell since I died. That's a shame. Anyway, I never fired my pistol again. Not even a damn fence post. That's not what it says on your grave. Oh, read it again. That's the fellow what killed me having a little ironic joke, I reckon. Someone killed you? You're only the second person to track me down. First one was 9 years after the trial, with Timsbury's brother hunting for revenge. What happened? He challenged me to a duel, and I told him I ain't doing that no more. He asked me again, and I said no, and he hollered at me, and I took my pistol out of the closet and threw it at his feet so he could see how the cylinder was all rusted shut. And he cocked his gun and asked me one last time, and I said no, and that's the last thing I remember is the bang. Jeez. Kinda aimed to bury me, though. Guess you weren't all bad. Do you want to see Felicity again? I could take you to a ghost. Nah, I reckon I'll just go back to sleep. Ain't right a dead fella walking round. Just tell her sorry for me, alright? Here, you can give her my pocket watch and she'll recognize it. Alright, bye, McCready. Oh god, that was quite the extensive bit of going back and forth. Like, had this been any other game, I would have been annoyed at it. I am annoyed at it. It's definitely not a great way to design a quest, I think. Okay. One final push into the brink. Yes, let's Cossack dance right to her. I've got a question for you. Are you ready for this? I found McCready's grave. He wasn't executed. You 100% certain it's him, not some other man named McCready. It was him. Here, he gave me his watch to give you. She turns the watch around in her hand for a while, just looking at it without saying anything. Then she slowly winds it and listens to it as it chimes the hour. Yes, this is his watch, all right. Thank you. Wait, you said he gave it to you? He's alive? Not exactly. He's a skeleton. We talked for a while, then he asked me to bury him again so he could go back to sleep. Well, what did he say? He confirmed our guesses. He knew about the eclipse in advance and stalled the trial for his escape plan, but stalled it too long and decided to hedge his bet by calling for the trial by combat. He gave up gunfighting. He what? He bought a little house, raised chickens, never fired his pistol again. In fact, he left it to rust. 9 years later, Timsbury's brother caught up to him and challenged him to a revenge match. McCready refused repeatedly, and so the guy shot him. He said to tell you he was sorry. She looks at you silently for a moment, then looks at the watch. She winds the hands back a minute and listens to it as it chimes again. She sighs and shakes her head, then smiles at you. Thank you, Rain. You'd make a damn fine attorney. She shakes your hand and fades from view as she does so, leaving her attorney's badge in your hand. Ooh! Oh! That's quite good. Rest in peace, counselor. That was an ordeal. Gee. Well, in the next episode, we shall hopefully take on the ordeals pertaining to another of the ghosts. But until then, take care.